Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Shah Rue with a Vedic Astro Yoga update. And hope you all had a great day today, May 7th. Hope you had a super auspicious day. Really incredible. Lots of good things happening for a lot of people. But some of you didn't have such a good time. You're like, Shah Rue, what's happening? Well, I'm here to tell you. And so let's talk about the astrology for May 8th, which is, what is it? The astrology, which is May 8th, which is Wednesday. And so the moon is going to be in the Vedic constellation Ardra. And that is ruled over by the ancient Hindu god Rudra, which later came to be called Shiva. And so he's known as the Howling One, right? That's what Rudra means. And so ultimately, it's this idea of being upset about what creation has done, right? The myth is Brahma wanted to create creation, and so he needed to mate with his own creation, and so he went searching after it, and then it was totally wrong, not righteous, not okay to do that, not moral, and so in this constellation, Rudra basically chops his head off, and the stars became a deer in the sky because Brahma turned into a deer to chase after his creation ultimately. And so it's this idea of like kind of like picking things apart and this like emotional storm that can happen, right? It's like, oh, I want this thing to work. I want it to work out. I want it to be this way. And you know, there's this character in the hip hop R&B scene, Drake, and he's known to have those Drake tears, right? So I looked up his information, and sure enough, his Vedic birth star is Rudra, the crying star. This stuff is so accurate, folks. Love it. And but ultimately, it's a great day for problem solving, for thinking about things almost like outside of the box, thinking about things in a way that you haven't thought about them before. It's this real mental genius, abstract thinking, very intellectual place. It's the middle of Gemini, right? So it's like the formation of these concepts and ideals that we have. And it's like looking for things that are off and produce and ultimately, yeah, chopping those things head off in a way. This is opposite the constellation of Nriti, Kali, right? Shiva and Kali. So it has that more full of effort, kind of destructive energy. But ultimately, it's looking at things in a whole different way. And so what's happening is that just last night, we had Mars enter sidereal Gemini, which is closer to astronomy, whereas tropical it's already been in there for a while. And so now it's joined the North Node. Rahu has been in the North Eclipsing Node has been in Gemini since around mid-March. And so ultimately this combination starts the most intense astrological event of the year, where we're going to have this Mars and Rahu opposite the Saturn and the South Node. We'll see here. Here's the Mars and Rahu directly opposite this Saturn and Ketu. And so what does this all mean? Well, basically just first picking apart what Mars and Rahu is, it's the quintessential Veruca Salt archetype of like, give it to me now, I want it now. It's like having our desires and our passions, Mars, she's even wearing red. And with the North Node, Rahu, it's like impulsive, I have to have it now. It's this head without a body, right? And so it creates this like, give it to me now, and this explosive energy. And so what's happening with this opposition with Saturn, it can feel like out there is the resistance, right? So it creates this potential conflict, like out there, something's wrong. Something is wrong with you out there, right? So it causes that conflict. And what's interesting is that the nodes, the Rahu and the Ketu, are in the same position. The eclipses are in the same position when 9/11 happened, like 18-ish years ago. But this time we're going to have Mars and Rahu, or excuse me, Mars and Saturn opposing as well. And so this conjunction is going to go on until June 22nd and be exact on around June 12th. And so, most Vedic astrologers out there are predicting, and myself included, of course, this time to be a really intense combative time where people are projecting things out there. And so, it's like, where is it? This kind of energy. Oh, it didn't show. Oh, well. And so, but, it's just go with the flow, right? It's this rush hour traffic energy. Mars wants it now, and Saturn's like, wait, one step at a time. So it creates that push-pull that like stops and starts, foot on the brake and the gas at the same time. But with the opposition, we're going to tend to project it outwardly. And so, so ultimately it's like go with the flow of that, right? Like we can expect those delays. And so, get in this place to flow with that and get more mechanical and direct things. That's a really great way to go about it. And yeah, so the moon is going to be passing by. Actually, the moon is going to be just passed by Mars about a few hours ago, around 6 o'clock Pacific time. And it's going to be traversing here for the next couple of days. And so in the morning, the moon enters that constellation Rudra, Ardra. And so there could be a little bit more upsetness out there, potentially just foreshadowing this build of energy that's going to be happening leading up to summer solstice. And so, you might be feeling more mentally restless with this moon, with the North Node and the Mars, a little bit more agitated. And so, consult your meditation teacher, your yoga practitioners, all the things that you do to just chill out and to just focus the mind so it doesn't get all crazy. All right. So let me go ahead and pull up our guest today. And she's calling from Toronto. And so let me go ahead and give her a call here. All right. We're a little late today. Hopefully we got it. Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey there.
Welcome.
Hey. Thank you. I was just watching you live, so
Oh,
I saw
good.
you were calling me and I
Yeah. You're like, oh.
turned off my live.
Yeah, good. Great one. Cool. Now, what's interesting is that you happen to be the person on the show today, and both you and your partner have this Mars-Saturn conjunction. Um,
I knew it's something.
yeah, it's always like that. And
I
you're,
trust timing.
yeah, yeah. So pretty cool how that works out. Um, so let me go ahead and put your chart here. But yeah, just curious, what inspired you to want to have your chart looked at today?
Okay. Well, I'm really thankful and really looking forward to this reading because
Mhm.
I've studied astrology, both Western and Vedic, for quite a
Mhm.
long time. I just found that Vedic is so much more in depth,
Yeah,
and so I haven't really grasped at my chart. Um,
cool.
so I'm looking forward to that.
Yay.
Coming up, my boyfriend and I are seriously talking about moving in together and when that will be.
Oh,
Uh, and we've been together for some time. So I'm an entrepreneur.
mhm.
So I just wanted to see, like, I guess, like business wise and financially, how that'll look like supporting us or, equally supporting us and us moving in together, like what all that energy might look like.
Yeah. Okay, great. That's cool. We'll take a look. And yeah, like I said, what's great is that he has that Mars Saturn too. That you guys are born around the same year, and so that's almost like a necessary for you in a way, because you have, as you can see here, you have the Mars and Saturn in the seventh house of relationship, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you need to have somebody that has those qualities, or else maybe you'll bring it out in people, right? So it's like somebody that already has it. And what happens over time is after that initial maybe struggle or difficulty, then the person learns how to deal with it. It's like, okay, we're going to be in rush hour traffic. Let's bring, an audiobook, right? Let's
Right.
like just chill out and just know. And also, it's really good for like technical, mechanical things as well, right? And so, being really good at that kind of situation. So yeah, let's since you're more fascinated with the astrology, which is fun. I love speaking with fellow astro geeks. Um,
Totally.
yeah, let's look at your chart here.
Hey.
Yeah, and so because we want to see the nakshatras or the Vedic constellations, right? And that's where it's just endlessly juicy, right? Have you? Oh, looks like your sound went out.
Oh, hi there.
Oh, there
Can
you
you
go.
hear me?
Cool, I hear you now.
Okay, great. I think
Yeah.
I've just been quiet.
Okay,
Just
cool.
taking.
All right. So let's do a, a brief little run around on your chart here.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so Punarvasu rising, which is at the end of Gemini. And so Punarvasu is Aditi, the mother goddess. And it's this idea of giving support to things, right?
Okay.
And also it's right after Ardra. So it's almost like the light after the storm, you
Mm.
know? Yeah, and it's Shakti, its energy is to give abundance and prosperity to things, right? And so then we have your moon up here in the 12th house. So very, spiritual and idealistic and up in these amazing zones in the Vedic constellation Kritika, which is the Pleiades. And it's ruled over by Agni, the fire god, right? So it's about purification and really that like that priestess orientation as well. Like, yeah, Agni is like the fire rituals and such. But it's also like bold and courageous, yeah, like an entrepreneur type, right? And
Totally.
yeah, the moon's exalted there in Taurus, right? So pretty cool. But it's ultimately my roommate has the same configuration, so it's like a temple keeper, keeping really sacred space in that way, because the moon represents home in general. And then we have your sun in Pisces, all right? So you have your moon in the 12th house and your sun in the 12th sign Pisces. And so that's just like so spiritual. Oh my God. Yeah. But Uttara Bhadrapada is going down to the foundation of infinity, ultimately. It's like,
Wow.
how do you do that? Right?
Wow.
It's got to
Yeah.
be intuitive, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's this cosmic serpent. It's just like, whoa, the whole universe and tuning into that. And so also just sun in the 10th house, it's like you have to be the boss too. Like you have to be in charge. Yeah. Um, and then this right here, Mercury with the North Node, Rahu, as well, is like forward thinking, flashes of insight, maybe like impulsive to speak, right? And I have to like talk. And Mercury is your rising sign planet. It's Gemini. And so you're oriented to ninth house things, in the Shatabisha, like super alternative, esoteric belief systems. And then
Totally.
Rahu as well is all about the unconventional. So it's like nonlinear thinking is Mercury with the north or south node, right?
Absolutely. I have this issue where when something becomes mainstream, I just have no interest in it anymore, even
Right.
if I've liked it for like since I was a kid. Now I'm like, oh, now everyone else knows about it. Like, on to
Yeah.
the next.
Next thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And then Jupiter and Venus together as well is like, I want to expand into luxury and feeling good. So it's like wanting nice things, wanting wealth in the 11th house of income, right? So, get that money combination. Pretty cool. So, yeah, then we have this Mars and Saturn. And so that can experience like assertive partners, yet also partners that hold you back. It's like this back and forth, this push and pull with partnerships, right?
Yeah.
I'm curious, like how you experience that.
Yeah, so it's super interesting. So, I am a writer, a performance artist, and a Reiki healer and a tarot reader. So I'm all of those things that I feel like that Pisces and my moon sign really support really
Mm.
nicely now that you let me know of this. And my partner is both super supportive, but also like doesn't, for example, like on social media, like he's not into social media. He doesn't want to be like seen as much, whereas like it's part of my job to be seen.
Yeah.
So it's this push pull where he's like willing to like move in with me in a place that's really convenient for me to do my work, even though it's not like his ideal place. Like he'd rather be in the country.
Hmm.
Um,
Right.
it's like, yeah, it's this push pull. And we had this talk. I was like, I feel like I can't have, like, I've had this deep seated thing since I was young that was like, I can't have both.
Mm.
Like, there's a belief there that I can't have both, like a thriving career and a relationship. So, of all the relationships I've been in, I've been with my partner now for 6 years, and it feels like I can. It just feels like there's been a lot of push pull over these 6 years to kind of get us to that place where we're more aligned with our vision now
Yeah.
moving forward.
Good.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's look at his chart for his like kind of psychological profile. I like to call it.
Okay.
So yeah, having the sun in the 12th house is like wanting to be hidden behind the scenes, and it's with Rahu, the eclipsing node, right? So it's
Okay.
like I want to be hidden and doing my like freaky weird thing, and
Is that him?
yeah, uh huh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
right, and yeah, and also with the 10th house in a way as well as your public image, and so that's where he experiences that kind of like frustration. Whoops, lost you there. Are you still there?
That's
Okay,
it.
cool. Okay, cool.
Hi.
So that's where he
Sorry, I kind of missed that. With the 10th house, he has something in his 10th house. I'm sorry, I missed that.
oh yeah, his 10th house. That's where he has the rush hour traffic part, like the.
Okay.
So it's like his public image, right?
Okay.
It's like, oh, that's a little ratchet. I don't really want to do that as much, right?
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Uh huh. And also the Pisces rising is just another indication of this like hidden, obscure kind of thing, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, that maybe that's a good balance point for you guys in a way too.
Totally.
Yeah. And so now what I do is I just plug in his stuff into your stuff and vice versa to see
Okay.
like how it works. And so it's like your rising sign, like your identity, your body is like his home, right? It's like fourth house. So that gives him a sense of home. And so, but yeah, also just and his son goes into your 10th house of career, so he like boosts up your like psychic career thing, as well.
Like, yeah, I was saying, like, he's super supportive. The push pull is, I guess, the more that I do like public things, he's like supports me from the sidelines, but he's not crazy about having to attend
Yeah.
those things himself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean that could be a good support for you, right? It's like he's helping you project that public image even more and really uh, embracing more of that femininity, right? Venus exalted in career is what he gives you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he can be more of that supportive thing, where you're doing this like masculine role, right? You have sun in the 10th house, right?
Yeah.
Of career.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So yeah, that's really interesting. And then also just your really incredible is his son at 15 degrees, right with your Mercury basically at 15 degrees. And so that creates a high degree of bonding and, connection. And he's able to go into those mental abstract realms with you, um,
Mhm.
which is obviously like really important for you. Yeah. So, but yeah, we look at the moons, and you both have really strong moons as well, right? Your moon's
Good.
exalted, and even though his is at almost 1 degree, it's still in its own sign of Cancer, and so it shows this ability of like home and to be like an important aspect, but just a really strong point for both of you.
Good.
And it's in a 3-11 relationship, meaning it's his is 3 away and yours is 11 away, or vice versa. And so that's just like a real friendly relationship. Um, and I would pull up the Kuta points, which is, do you ever hear about that in a Vedic astrology?
No, I don't
Oh,
think I've got that far.
oh, okay. Um, well, let's see.
So Kuta, is it like no, that's Padas. Never mind.
Right, yeah, the pot is the Kuta points are this real. Uh, it's like all these different qualifications of each of the Vedic constellations, uh, and it compares like, okay, is this type of moon with that type of moon, and all the different qualities, how do they match up? And it creates this unconscious bonding and connection ultimately. Um, and so it might take a minute for my software to boot up because everything gets slowed down here. Um, but maybe after the fact, I'll look it up and just post those points for you, because
Okay.
that's one of the things I look at for creating home and family is
Okay.
those Kuta points, because it's just this unconscious ability to like bond ultimately, and then also
Right.
just to create a nest and a home together. So,
Yeah.
but so far, just from seeing the physical relationship, it looks pretty good. And yeah, but I think it's really cool to have this relationship that you both have, that Mars Saturn. So right, it's like it's better that you both have it, so you're both are like, oh, this is like the thing that we have in our life, and you can relate, to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really
So
neat.
mine's in my relationship house and his is in his career house.
Yeah, correct. Hmm.
So, do you have any like guidance for us on how to navigate that? Like that push pull or just yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's basically gonna accentuate the maybe like the harder parts of it. It's like increasing it. You're like compounding it on each other. And so, yeah, it's almost just like giving him space in his career and his expression out into the world, right?
Okay.
Because you're going to make it like a little bit more intense for him. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, for you, it's just having like a lot more like patience with it, right? Um,
Okay.
and you have, right? It's been like 6 years, you were saying?
I have. It's like 6 years, and now we're doing the thing that like I want to do.
Right, right, right.
Like it. So it's like I always felt like I always had faith in this that this is like that we're getting to that point. And it's funny too because when I met him, about like a year after I met him, I was really on him about his career of all things,
Mm-hmm.
and then he like went and pursued and is now doing the career that like he's really driven to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like a part of that catalyst,
Yeah. Interesting.
which is
Yeah, because he has
interesting.
the Venus in Pisces, tends to be like everything's fine, everything's okay, just chill, just
Yeah,
relax,
yeah,
and especially he has Sun in 12th house, which is like a Pisces energy too. Um, yeah, more of that visionary kind of state. I'm just curious. I don't know if you want to share like what I'm curious with the Mars Saturn there. Um, like what kind of career uh, you know that he does, or if you don't have to share if you don't want to.
yeah. Share. So right now he's a heating and air mechanic
Yeah, see?
where he
I love it. The
like
technical
the chicken mix.
mechanical. Yeah.
Yep, yep,
Okay. Yeah. I was just like,
yep.
is
And
it
he
going to be that?
thrives
Yes,
on
it
it.
is.
Also, yep. He also gets a lot of autonomy over his schedule, and he doesn't have like a direct boss. Like it's
Hmm.
really great that way too. So he still gets to have some of that alone time when he's at work, and he gets to socialize when he feels to.
Hmm.
Most days.
Great.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Um, and so I guess for you, it's like with his Mars and Saturn, it would increase more of maybe that like frustration that you might have in relationship in a way, but it's like he knows how to like be patient and deal with it at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, I think it's just from you, just more patience and just know that it's gonna take, not happen as fast as you want to, ultimately.
So like things in our relationship that I want for us are going to take longer than I would probably.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, um,
Okay.
yeah, but
Like, like no, now it's like it helps.
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Um, so my software is slowly booting up. But let me see if there's any other things. What do you have any other questions?
Yeah. I was wondering like timeline wise
Yeah.
within our charts or like especially like around my own career and just and like my Venus and Jupiter conjunct, like when that's going to, I guess, be more steady. I feel like the past maybe 6 months have been pretty great. Like they've, it's getting better and better.
Something's
But
going
before
on.
jumping
The
into moving
hold on.
together, just
Your
okay.
audio is like. I'm wondering like what's going on with that. I don't know if you could fix it.
Let's see. Hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah,
Okay.
it
All
is
right.
better. It is better. Okay, cool.
Um, yeah, I was just looking like time wise, like what does my, I guess over the next however long, maybe like 6 months
Yeah.
to a year, like how that's like if there's anything in my chart that says like this is a good time for you career wise and like this is a good time for you to move in, or
Hmm.
if I should slow down that rule.
Right. Let's see here. So let me share
Okay.
the screen. And so, yeah, I'm just gonna surrender to this not happening right now. And okay. And all right. So you're in the cycle of Rahu. You have been since 17 years old. And so you're going to be in more of that, like, give it to me now, faster, right?
Mm,
Kind of thing, which is great for this time of life, right? You want to, it's like this ambition, to
right,
reach for more and more. And
right.
Rahu's in Purva Bhadrapada, which I call like the thunderbolt of Samadhi constellation or like the side of God. So it's like being obsessed with spiritual information, right?
Totally.
Yeah. And especially in the ninth house of like religion and belief systems. Um, and so that's been the theme the whole time. Uh, and then,
Wow. I was 17.
yeah.
Wow, amazing. Okay.
And then, so since the beginning of 2017, you've been in the Venus subcycle. And so this is the one where it's like, I want to do what I've always wanted to do. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And just really go for it. Anytime's Venus Rahu or Rahu Venus, it's like the Rahu, I want it now, and Venus is our happiness and pleasure. So a lot of times, like people quit their job during this phase because they're like, I wanted to do my thing that I've always wanted to do. And yeah, even in 2016 or 15 to 16 as well, you were in like both of the nodal cycles. So that created a lot of like stretching things apart. Um, and probably then it's like, okay, now I'm going to do what I wanted to do and do this big ambition.
Yep.
Um, yeah. And so this Venus Jupiter has been going the whole time. Um, and so let's see. Yeah, doing your passion, and but also it's triggering that high like priestess thing,
Mm-hmm.
and but which can also be really idealistic, um, and like looking like almost like ungrounded, and
Yeah.
and non-linear. It's like, oh, when am I ever gonna get to be in Shambhala, you know? um,
Right.
and so it creates that as well. But so you're in the last 6 months of this Venus subcycle here. It goes all the way to the beginning of 2020.
Okay.
Um, and so, yeah, it's almost just like, okay, now I want to do what I've always wanted to do, and time's running out, and I have to do it now. I got to move in with my partner. I got to have, everything. I got to have the career, all the things. But usually, the shift into the sun cycle is, especially since you have it in the career chart, it's like, okay, I've landed. Here I am, world. I'm shining my bright light in this super intuitive mystical constellation, right? Or this expression in career.
Right.
Um, and so, yeah, it really, the sun rules the fifth sign, Leo. So it triggers the south node as well,
Okay.
which is more of that uh, like visionary, spiritualizing uh, scenario. And it's the third house of self expression. So it's
Perfect.
like really coming out there. So I would say all of 2020 would be the phase to really actualize career in that way. Hmm.
Okay.
And yeah, and also what's happening is the nodes, the transits, Rahu, the north node's going to be in the first house, and south node K2 is going to be in the seventh house. So this is interesting. It's more of this self focused time.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. There goes my partner. Well, I next year I would be this later on this year, next year I'd be traveling a lot
Okay.
for my career. So it's like we want to live together and it's like I'd get the best of everything. Like when I'd be home at points like during the week, we could spend time together, but then I'd be away a lot.
Hmm. Right. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So I mean, this transit goes for like a year and a half. Um, so and potentially around July 2nd and July 16th when the eclipses happen,
Hmm.
you want to just be really careful not to make any big decisions or do anything weird around him and partnerships because
Okay.
you'll tend to, since you're in the Rahu cycle as well, you're going to be
Right.
more affected by Rahu eclipses. And
Okay.
so there's going to be more of this, like, I want to do my thing, you know, uh,
Right.
energy. So, yeah, just be a little, like, maybe just observe things a bit more during that time.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. And he is going, he's in Mercury phase right now. Um, and so, yeah, he's in a phase of like home and relationship. He has been for a while. Uh, but he's in the Mars. He has been in the Mars subcycle. So getting more ambitious and growing bigger in career
Yeah.
since like July. And then it
Mhm.
shifts into the North Node, Rahu, July 4th. And so this might be more of this kind of retreating or innovating his career.
Okay.
Not retreating his career, but just, yeah, maybe getting more in this phase of innovating, of doing something a little bit different than
Okay.
usual. Yeah. Um, yeah, and maybe it's like some kind of like, something's not working and I need to change it. I need to fix it.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And so, I mean, you're in more of this kind of individualistic phase, but still, it's like wanting to actualize relationships at the same time.
Right.
Um, so so yeah, it's just being having the patience ultimately. um,
Okay.
yeah, but especially it's almost just like building your network and your community
Hmm.
right now, and then the sun cycle just like getting it all set up and then really landing it and bringing it through during the sun subcycle here.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Saturn will, your Saturn return will be done as well, like a couple weeks later, at the
Oh,
end of 2020, as far as the sidereal equal house system goes.
okay.
Um, and so Saturn will be out of the relationships, and so it'll stop harshing the vibe a little bit more, causing less restriction in relationships.
Okay,
You
good.
know, yeah, cool.
Awesome. Cool.
Okay,
Uh, and then after the raw, I'm in the Rahu phase, correct? Since
yeah,
17.
uh huh.
And how long does that phase last?
It's 18 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and so you're just halfway through, past
Whew.
that. Yeah, and yeah, but pretty much it's a great time of life to have it in a way, because it's just
Okay.
like, oh, like ambition and reaching for it. And then Jupiter comes at 35, and pretty much everybody I talk to, it's like Rahu to Jupiter is like night and day. um, it's just like, oh, the searching, and then finally, like, I'm the guru, right? Or I've like actualized this thing, you know
Good.
actualize my ambitions. But that's not to say you don't do that before, because Rahu cycles are where people reach the furthest and get the most in life, right? But maybe they don't feel like they've gotten it and landed until Jupiter, right?
Got it.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
Hmm.
Okay. So, all right. That's really good to know as well. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Cool. Awesome. Well, right on. Do you have any more questions or anything?
Uh, I feel like I don't have any more questions. I feel like it's just something for me to like take in and realize and work with coming up.
Hmm.
Um, I'm kind of happy to hear that my partner is also going to be innovating their career because
Yeah.
it makes me feel less guilty about me wanting it all.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
I guess I kind of struggle a little bit with the seventh house Saturn Mars. Like, is this something that's going to be afflicting me for my whole life? Like, it's something that's always present.
Uh, well, yeah. Ultimately, it's a tendency that we have. It's like
Okay.
what we came in with, and so during different transits, or like when a Saturn cycle or a Mars cycle gets triggered, those things would happen more, right? But ultimately, people that are on top of their inner work are kind of one step ahead of the sky, so to speak,
Okay.
right? But it's still a tendency that's there. It's like my hair is brown, right? I was born with brown
Yeah.
hair. Like I
Yeah.
can I can put color in it like I have, but it's still brown, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of how it works.
Okay.
Yeah,
So just always bringing patience to
yeah,
my relationship.
yeah. It's Saturn's like, okay, I have this great responsibility in partnership, right?
Hmm.
That's what it says in the seventh house. And then Mars is like, and like their desires, the partner's desires is like asserting um, towards me, like kind of like, like back off. And so it's like, I'm really responsible for you, yet like you're bugging me, It's like that. And so it's that, like, foot on the brakes and the gas at the same time.
Okay.
And so it's just learning, yeah, to uh, get more like organized and technical, mechanical, right? Or it's
Right.
having a mechanic partner, you know, right? It's
Right.
crazy. Yeah.
Helping me by being a mechanic himself.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and this is good information to have because this is something that I could talk to him about um, as well, so that we know when I'm feeling frustration or like he'll understand that he's really good like that,
Yeah.
understanding and being self-aware of when he's
Yeah. When you guys
un-
are having difficult times. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Uh, but let's see. Yeah, I think you both have a good deal of this Pisces energy.
Hmm.
Like his sun is in the 12th, your moon's in the 12th. his rising's Pisces, your sun's in Pisces. So you're able to like have that like that ratchet frustration, but then be like, okay, what's the big picture here?
Yeah.
So that's, I feel like both of you have that internally, and so it makes it so much, you guys are like really great together then, right? Because you can both experience that. Whereas if you had another partner that didn't have this Mars Saturn configuration and but the ability to see higher, then wouldn't work as well. One person would be having the thing and the other couldn't understand it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. We do point the finger at each other. Like if I'm like, this, that, he's like, and you? He's like, it's like, and when he calls things out about me, I was like, and you're the same. And so
Yeah.
that is great that we both have that.
Mm.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah. I knew that I had Mars in the seventh, and like anytime I ever researched Vedic
Oh
on my
yeah,
own,
don't do that.
it was like,
Kuja
you
dosha.
to a tree first
Yeah.
to like so that your real like your first marriage to a person is actually your second marriage
Yeah. But the
because
advice is they want to find somebody else that has a similar energy, right?
perfect.
So, and that's the way it works. Because then sometimes it could go the opposite direction where it's like too much of that same difficult energy.
Right.
But you want to get it to where you're both like in the same spot with it. So
Okay, cool.
cool. All right.
How amazing. Thank you. I appreciate this reading. It was totally
Yeah.
awesome.
Great.
I
Excellent.
can't wait to share this with my partner.
Yay. Cool.
And thank you so much for everything.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, good to have you on. And anybody else that wants to have their chart read live, just visit Facebook group Vedic Astro Yoga, and we'll get you in queue. Cool.
Very cool.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.